I believe in hate speech. When you have hate for somebody, I am 100% into hate speech, because it's freedom of speech. You can speak.
So if you hate someone, you should be able to just say it.
Yeah, I believe it.
And so you think it exists?
Yep, 100%.
It really is interesting when they just lay it out like that they love hate speech. I am kind of curious where that conversation could have gone if TYT's Michael Schur would have asked just a few more questions, because it wouldn't have ended well, but ultimately we probably wouldn't even been able to show it. But that's how comfortable a lot of Republicans have gotten with their hate and bigotry. It's no longer that they say it behind closed doors. They're saying it to a camera, into a microphone, that they love hate speech. And others that he talked to in Nebraska said they don't even believe it exists. But just look at the crowd, look at the demographics, look at the people he's talking to and what they're saying. It's all white, middle American Nebraskans. A homogenous area like Nebraska is bound to breed a lot of racism because they're not interacting with people who don't look like them. When you live in an area that isn't diverse and you don't interact with people that don't look like you, it's very easy for people to be led down this path where they reach conclusions like that, where they ultimately believe that hate speech is good or that it doesn't exist, or that it's somehow a core component of free speech. Look, there's a difference between freedom of speech and freedom of consequences. And someone else in that segment tried to say that it's unfair that people who are espousing hate speech, defending them leads to blowback.
And that's what they say. Anytime you stand up, we're the bad guys, because we say, hey, you can't do that. So that's they'll call that hate speech. It's so twisted. It's so soft. It's so, I mean, when Obama was in there, everybody was like, okay, we're more locked down too. When Trump got in, the patriots felt like we can breathe.
No, that's never been what free speech has been about. It's never been freedom from consequences. You can say you hate a certain type of minority, but I'm free to say that you're a piece of shit and you should go to hell. And now that Trump is back in the race for 2024, it's really worrisome because these are the people that he inspires. And one of the things he's said over the past few years really illustrates what this is ultimately about and how we've gotten here.
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
And for the Republican elite, that is saying the quiet part out loud, because they've believed this for years. They've seen this as a core part of their strategy. A disinvestment in education leads to poorer educational outcomes, ultimately leading to a dumber populace. And this is a crude way of saying it, but when you have more stupid people in this country, and especially in your political base, they become very easy to manipulate. All you have to do is just throw them red meat about how you love America. America's number one. I love Jesus. I love God. I love America. I love the military. God bless the troops. Over and over and over again. It's just red meat. And you're totally pandering to a poorly educated base. They get distracted by that, so you can then go out and cut taxes for the wealthy. And that's the same wealthy that has made the standard of living a lot worse for those people in Nebraska, just as they have for the rest of the country. But then, when those people realize their lives are getting worse, which has happened, they look around for answers. And who do they look to? They look to people like Trump. Instead of saying, oh yeah, it's the corporations I've been helping for years, he turns around and blames people of color. He blames immigrants. They blame critical race theory in schools or transgender people. Do you see how this works? Corporate politicians love to use these types of things as distractions. They want you to be more focused on your neighbor than Wall Street robbing you blind. They want you to think the real problem is the school board in your city and not you being overworked and still not being able to make ends meet. But one final point on the free speech aspect. They're going to use that as cover for bigotry and racism. We can't stand for that. We can't let that happen. So you need to use your free speech to stand up for people who are victims of bigotry, hate, and xenophobia, fueled by people like them.